Sarah Whitman lived in a small town where everyone knew each other. She had once been a happy woman, with a loving husband and a beautiful little girl named Lily. But 10 years ago, her world fell apart. It was a warm summer evening when Lily disappeared. She had been playing in the front yard, laughing and chasing fireflies. Sarah had gone inside for just a moment, to grab a glass of lemonade. When she came back, Lily was gone. At first, Sarah thought her daughter was hiding. "Lily," she called, searching the yard. But there was no answer. She looked behind the trees, inside the barn, even under the porch. The fear started to rise in her chest. She called her husband Tom, who rushed home. Together, they searched the entire property, shouting Lily's name until their voices grew hoarse. Nothing. By nightfall, the police arrived. Flashlights shined through the dark fields. Officers and neighbors searched every inch of the land. They combed the woods, checked the roads, and even drained the small pond behind the house. But there was no sign of Lily. Days turned into weeks, then months. Posters with Lily's face covered every shop window. News stations reported the heartbreaking story. Tips poured in, but none led to answers. The town was filled with whispers. Some people blamed strangers passing through, while others thought someone local had taken her. A few even suspected Sarah or Tom, as painful as that was to hear. The loss broke them. Tom couldn't handle the pain. He packed his bags one night and left. "I can't stay here anymore," he told Sarah, tears in his eyes. She understood, but she couldn't leave. This was Lily's home. If there was even the smallest chance that her daughter might come back, she had to be there. So Sarah stayed, alone. She stopped talking to people, stopped answering calls. She spent her days taking care of the farm, her mind always stuck in the past. The pigs, the cows, the fields, they were the only things keeping her from losing herself completely. But no matter how much time passed, she never stopped hoping. Every night before bed, she whispered the same words, "Lily, if you can hear me, come home." Then, on the 10th anniversary of Lily's disappearance, something strange happened. Sarah was in the barn, feeding the pigs, when she heard a noise, a low, heavy sound, a scraping, almost like something moving beneath the floor. The pigs, usually calm, were restless, their eyes wide and alert. A chill ran down her spine. She had lived here for years. She knew every corner of the barn. But this sound, this was different. Slowly, she followed the noise to the far end of the barn. The old wooden floor creaked under her boots. She took a deep breath and knelt down. And that's when she saw it. A trapdoor, hidden beneath a layer of hay. Her heart pounded. She had never seen it before. Sarah stared at the trapdoor, her hands shaking. How had she never noticed it before? The wooden planks were old, covered in dirt and straw. It blended perfectly with the barn floor, as if someone had hidden it on purpose. The pigs grunted nervously, shifting their weight. They sensed something was wrong. Sarah hesitated. A part of her wanted to walk away, pretend she hadn't seen it. But another part, the part of her that had never stopped searching for Lily, told her to open it. She reached for the rusty handle and pulled. The wood groaned as the trapdoor lifted. A rush of cold, damp air hit her face. It smelled musty, like something that had been locked away for years. Inside, a wooden ladder led down into darkness. Sarah grabbed her flashlight from the nearby workbench. Her breath was shaky as she aimed the light into the hole. The beam revealed dirt walls, wooden beams, and a small space beneath the barn. It wasn't just a hole in the ground. It was a hidden room. Her heart pounded. Who built this, and why? Taking a deep breath, Sarah placed one foot on the ladder, then another. The wood creaked under her weight, but it held. Slowly, she climbed down. Her boots hit the packed dirt floor. She swung the flashlight around, her pulse racing. The room was small, just big enough for someone to stand up inside. The walls were rough, made of thick earth. An old wooden crate sat in the corner, covered in dust. A few broken tools leaned against the wall. And then her light landed on something that made her stomach twist. A tiny pink backpack. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. She knew that backpack. She had bought it for Lily the summer before she disappeared. It had a little unicorn patch on the front, stitched by hand because Lily loved unicorns. Tears burned Sarah's eyes. She rushed forward, grabbing the backpack with trembling fingers. It was covered in dust, but when she unzipped it, she found something inside. A small folded-up jacket. Lily's jacket. Sarah felt like she couldn't breathe. She pressed the fabric to her chest, her mind racing. How had this gotten here? Who had put it here? A noise behind her made her freeze. A soft shuffle, like someone, or something, moving. Sarah spun around, aiming the flashlight toward the ladder. The barn above was silent. The pigs had gone still, their snorts and grunts completely quiet. She wasn't alone. Her grip on the backpack tightened. And then a low creak echoed from above. Someone was closing the trapdoor. Sarah's heart slammed against her chest as the trapdoor creaked above her. She shot her flashlight upward, her breath coming fast. The wooden door was moving, slowly but definitely closing. "Hey, stop," she shouted, her voice echoing in the small underground space. She lunged for the ladder, gripping the sides with trembling hands. The moment her foot hit the first step, the trapdoor slammed shut. Darkness swallowed her. Sarah gasped, her body frozen in fear. The only light came from her flashlight, its dim glow flickering off the dirt walls. The air felt heavy, thick with dust, and something else, something old. She swallowed hard, forcing herself to stay calm. Someone had closed the trapdoor. But who? Was it just the wind? An accident? Or was someone up there watching her? She took a deep breath and tried to push the door open. She shoved hard with her shoulder, but it wouldn't budge. It was locked. Panic clawed at her chest. She banged on the wood with both fists. "Hello? Is someone there? Let me out." Silence. She pressed her ear against the door, listening. Nothing. Not even the pigs. The whole barn seemed eerily quiet. Her mind raced. Who had done this? And why? Then her flashlight flickered. Sarah's breath caught. Not now. Please, not now. She smacked the side of the flashlight, and the beam steadied, but her relief was short-lived. In the faint glow, she noticed something on the wall. Scratches, deep, uneven marks dug into the dirt, like someone had tried to claw their way out. A shiver ran down her spine. She turned slowly, her light sweeping across the room. Dust floated in the air. The old wooden crate sat in the corner, untouched. The broken tools leaned against the wall. Then she saw something else. Footprints. Small ones. Sarah's stomach twisted. The prints were faint, barely visible in the packed dirt, but they were there, leading from the ladder to the corner. Her throat tightened. Had Lily been here? Her mind screamed that it was impossible. But the backpack, the jacket, the footprints. She had to get out. Now. Forcing herself to breathe, Sarah examined the walls, searching for anything that might help. The tools. She rushed toward them, grabbing the rustiest one, a crowbar. It was heavy, but she held it tight, using it to wedge against the trapdoor. She pushed. Nothing. She gritted her teeth and pushed harder, sweat forming on her forehead. The wood groaned but didn't move. And then, a sound. Not from above. From inside the room. A slow, shuffling noise. Sarah's blood turned to ice. She wasn't alone. Sarah froze. Her breath caught in her throat as she listened carefully. The shuffling sound came again, faint but unmistakable. It was slow, deliberate, like someone, or something, was moving in the darkness. Her heartbeat thundered in her chest. She tightened her grip on the crowbar, her knuckles white. She had to stay calm. It could just be an animal, a rat, or maybe a stray dog. But then, why had the pigs been so quiet earlier? Why had they acted so strange? She swallowed hard and slowly turned the flashlight toward the source of the noise. The beam trembled in her hand, casting long shadows across the dirt floor. The room seemed to stretch forever in the dim light. But there, just at the edge of her vision, she saw something move. A shape. A figure. Sarah's stomach twisted in fear. It was small, hunched over, like it was trying to hide in the shadows. Her heart raced as she took a cautious step forward, raising the flashlight. "Who's there?" she called, her voice shaky. The figure didn't respond. Instead, it shuffled further into the corner where the old crate sat. Sarah's breath was shallow. "I won't hurt you," she said softly, trying to keep her voice steady. But the figure didn't move. Taking a slow, deliberate step forward, Sarah reached out, holding the flashlight out in front of her. As the beam fell across the figure, she saw it clearly. It was a child. A girl, no older than Lily had been. Her clothes were torn, and her hair was messy and wild. She was curled up against the crate, hugging her knees to her chest, rocking gently back and forth. Sarah's chest tightened. She knelt down slowly, her eyes never leaving the girl. "Are you okay?" Sarah asked, her voice barely a whisper. The girl didn't look up. She just kept rocking, muttering softly to herself. Sarah's heart broke. This child, this poor, lost child, looked so familiar, but it was impossible. She didn't know her. Not really. Then the girl stopped rocking. She slowly lifted her head, her eyes wide and empty, staring directly at Sarah. For a moment, time seemed to stop. The girl's eyes, they were the same color as Lily's, a deep, bright blue that had once been full of life. But now, they were cold, empty. Sarah's throat closed up. She couldn't speak. The girl whispered, her voice hoarse and broken. "They took her. They took her too." The words hit Sarah like a punch in the gut. "They took her," Sarah repeated, her voice trembling. "Who took her?" The girl didn't answer. Instead, she reached into the corner beside her, pulling something out of the dirt. Sarah's eyes widened. It was a pink backpack. The same backpack Lily had carried. The same one Sarah had found earlier. She felt her legs give way as she dropped to the ground, staring at the child in shock. This was no coincidence. This was no lost child. This was the nightmare she had been searching for. The girl spoke again, barely audible. "You're too late." Sarah's body went cold. The little girl's words echoed in her mind. "You're too late." Her hands trembled as she stared at the pink backpack. It was impossible. She had already found it earlier. How was it here again? She swallowed hard and looked at the child. The girl's wide, empty eyes sent shivers through her. She was pale, thin, and looked like she hadn't seen sunlight in years. Sarah's voice shook. "What do you mean? Who took her?" The girl hugged the backpack tightly, rocking again. She whispered, "The man. He comes at night. He takes them away." Sarah's breath hitched. "Takes who away?" The girl's lips quivered, her voice barely above a whisper. "The ones who cry." Sarah's stomach twisted. Someone had been bringing children here, keeping them locked away. But who? And for how long? She had lived on this farm for years. She had searched every inch of it when Lily disappeared. How could she have never known about this place? Her mind raced. She had to get out, had to call the police, had to figure out who had done this. She turned back to the trapdoor and grabbed the crowbar again. With all her strength, she jammed it under the wooden frame and pushed. The door groaned but didn't move. She gritted her teeth and shoved harder, her muscles straining. Then, a loud click echoed from above. Sarah froze. Someone had just unlocked the trapdoor. She barely had time to react before the door creaked open. A dim light spilled in from the barn, casting long shadows on the walls. A figure stood above her. Tall, still, watching. Sarah's blood turned to ice. The little girl whimpered and crawled further into the corner, her tiny hands clutching the backpack. Sarah forced herself to breathe. "Who are you?" she demanded, her voice firm despite the fear curling inside her. The figure didn't answer. Instead, they took one slow step down the ladder, then another. Sarah tightened her grip on the crowbar, her hands slick with sweat. The figure's face became clearer in the dim light. And then, she recognized him. Her breath caught in her throat. It was Mr. Jansen, the farm's caretaker. The man who had worked for her family for decades. The man she had trusted. His expression was unreadable. Cold. "You shouldn't have come down here, Sarah," he said quietly. Her whole body went stiff. Jansen stepped off the ladder, standing just a few feet away. His eyes flickered to the little girl in the corner, then back to Sarah. A slow smile spread across his face. "You were never supposed to find this." Sarah's hands tightened around the crowbar, her breath coming in short gasps. Mr. Jansen, the man who had worked on the farm for years, stood in front of her. His calm smile sent chills down her spine. She forced herself to speak. "What is this place?" she demanded. "What did you do?" Jansen sighed, as if he were tired. "You don't need to know, Sarah." His voice was quiet, almost gentle. "You just need to go back upstairs and forget you ever saw this." Sarah's stomach twisted. Forget? How could she forget? There was a child here, scared, alone. And Lily's backpack. Her voice trembled. "Lily, was she here?" Jansen's eyes darkened. "It doesn't matter now." Sarah's heart pounded. "It does matter." The little girl in the corner whimpered, hugging the backpack tighter. Sarah glanced at her, then back at Jansen. She had to get out. She had to get this child out. She slowly stepped back, gripping the crowbar like a weapon. "You locked me down here," she said, trying to keep him talking. "Why?" Jansen didn't answer right away. Instead, he glanced at the trapdoor above, as if making sure no one else was around. Then he sighed. "I was trying to protect you," he said. Sarah's stomach dropped. "Protect me?" Jansen nodded, his expression unreadable. "You never should have found this place." Sarah's fingers tightened around the crowbar. "Who took Lily?" she asked, her voice shaking. Jansen's eyes flickered, but he didn't answer. Sarah took a slow step toward the ladder. "You know what happened to her?" she pressed. "Tell me." Jansen let out a slow breath. "Sarah, you need to leave." "No." Jansen's jaw clenched. For the first time, his calm expression broke. "I tried to keep you from finding out," he muttered. "I tried to keep you safe, but now—" He took a slow step forward. "Now, you've seen too much." Sarah's heart pounded. He wasn't going to let her leave. She had to act fast. Without thinking, she swung the crowbar. Jansen dodged, but the metal scraped his arm. He cursed, stumbling back. Sarah grabbed the little girl's hand. "Come on," she whispered. The girl hesitated, then scrambled to her feet. Together, they ran for the ladder. Jansen roared in anger. "Stop." Sarah shoved the girl up first. "Climb," she urged. The child obeyed, her small hands gripping the ladder. Sarah followed, her muscles burning. Jansen lunged, grabbing Sarah's ankle. She screamed, kicking hard. The crowbar slipped from her grasp, clattering to the ground. Jansen yanked her back. Sarah's fingers clawed at the wooden steps. "Let go," she gasped. The little girl reached the top, pushing the trapdoor open. Light poured in. "Run," Sarah shouted. The girl hesitated, then disappeared. Jansen's grip tightened. And then, a loud, sharp bang echoed from above. Jansen's grip loosened. His body went still. Sarah scrambled up, pulling herself out of the hole. And when she turned around, her heart nearly stopped. The little girl stood there, holding an old shotgun with shaking hands. Jansen lay on the ground below, unmoving. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. The little girl looked up at her, her blue eyes filled with tears. "He was the one," she whispered. "He took them all." Sarah's heart pounded as she stared at the little girl. The old shotgun trembled in the child's small hands, her face pale with fear. Jansen lay below in the pit, unmoving. His body was twisted at an awkward angle. Sarah forced herself to breathe. There was no time to think, no time to waste. They had to get out of here. She knelt beside the girl, gently taking the shotgun from her trembling fingers. "It's okay," she whispered. "You're safe now." The little girl's lips quivered, and tears welled up in her wide blue eyes. But she nodded. Sarah took her hand. "We have to go. Come on." She led the child out of the barn, her legs shaky but determined. The cool night air hit her face as they stepped outside. It felt strange after being trapped underground, but she had no time to stop. She glanced toward the house. Her phone was inside. She had to call the police. But before she could take another step, a shadow moved near the trees. Sarah froze. Was someone else here? Her breath quickened as she scanned the darkness. The farm was silent, except for the distant rustling of leaves. Had Jansen been working alone? Or was there someone else watching? The little girl squeezed Sarah's hand. "We have to run," she whispered. Sarah didn't hesitate. She gripped the girl's hand tighter and sprinted toward the house. Her boots pounded against the dirt, her breath coming in sharp gasps. The farmhouse door creaked as she shoved it open. She rushed inside, flipping on the lights. Everything looked normal, but she knew better. She grabbed her phone from the table and dialed 911. The line rang once, twice. Then, "This is 911. What's your emergency?" Sarah's voice trembled as she spoke. "Please, we need help. There's a..." A loud bang interrupted her. The barn door had slammed shut. Sarah spun around, her blood running cold. Had the wind done that? Or was someone still out there? She grabbed a kitchen knife with her free hand, pulling the little girl close. "Stay with me," she whispered. The operator's voice crackled through the phone. "Ma'am, are you in danger?" "Yes," Sarah whispered, barely able to breathe. "Please send the police. Hurry." She backed away from the window, her eyes locked on the barn. The night felt too quiet, too still. Then, footsteps. Slow, steady, coming from outside. Sarah's grip on the knife tightened. Someone was coming. Had Jansen survived? Or was it someone worse? A dark figure stepped onto the porch. Sarah's heart stopped. The doorknob twisted. And then, a voice, cold and familiar. "You should have left when you had the chance, Sarah." Sarah's breath caught in her throat. The doorknob rattled again, harder this time. The little girl clung to her side, her small fingers digging into Sarah's arm. The voice outside spoke again, calm but chilling. "You should have left, Sarah." She knew that voice. It wasn't Jansen. It was someone else. Someone she had never suspected. Slowly, she stepped closer to the door. Her hands trembled as she held the kitchen knife tightly. "Who are you?" she demanded. Silence. Then, a slow chuckle. "I've been here all along," the voice whispered. "Watching. Waiting." Sarah's stomach twisted. She took a step back, heart racing. The little girl pulled on her sleeve. "Don't open it," she whispered. "He's the one." Sarah's mind reeled. The real person behind all this, it wasn't just Jansen. There was someone else, and they were standing right outside her door. The police were on their way, but would they get here in time? A loud bang shook the door. The man outside was trying to break in. Sarah's eyes darted around the room. She had to protect the girl. She had to survive. She grabbed the child's hand and ran toward the back door. But as she reached for the handle, crash! The front door burst open. A tall figure stepped inside. Sarah's breath caught. Her father. She hadn't seen him in years. He had left after Lily went missing, disappearing without a trace. She had always wondered why. Now she knew. Her knees went weak. "You," she whispered. His cold eyes locked onto hers. "You were supposed to forget." Sarah shook her head, horror creeping through her veins. What did you do?" His expression didn't change. Lily wasn't the first. Sarah's breath hitched. "No." He stepped closer, his face empty of emotion. "I warned Jansen to keep you away. But you never could leave the past alone." Sarah gritted her teeth, her fear turning to anger. "Where is she?" she demanded. Her father tilted his head, as if considering whether to answer. Then he sighed. "Gone." Tears burned in Sarah's eyes. "Gone." The word cut through her like a knife. The little girl whimpered, hiding behind Sarah. Sarah's grip on the knife tightened. "You took all of them," she said, her voice shaking but strong. Her father smirked. "And no one ever knew." "Not anymore." Sarah's rage boiled over. She lunged. The knife sliced through the air, catching him off guard. He stumbled back, clutching his arm where the blade had grazed him. Sarah didn't wait. She grabbed the little girl and ran. The sound of sirens filled the air. Her father cursed under his breath. He knew it was over. The police stormed in, guns raised. Hands up. Sarah held the girl close as officers swarmed the house. Her father didn't fight. He simply smiled, as if he had been expecting this. As they cuffed him and led him away, Sarah finally let out a shaky breath. It was over. She knelt beside the little girl, brushing her hair back gently. "You're safe now," she whispered. The child looked up at her, her blue eyes filled with tears. "So are you."